Alright, so we are back for another video, and today we're gonna check out a really exciting product. This is the first Blon in the channel that we are checking out that is a headphone, and this is the Blon B60. And you guys know in the channel, Blons are really popular here. And from what I've seen from the marketing materials, you do get that maybe wooden back style. And usually for me, I do have a couple of wooden backs here in the channel. I do like the overall tone that it gives. It has a bit more warmth to the overall sound. And hopefully we're gonna see it as well in the Blon B60. So actually one of the bigger boxes in the channel that I have seen, and actually are getting the maybe Mies style band at the top, 20 to 20 kHz in frequency range, 3.5mm jack, 100 dB in sensitivity, and Blon B60, 32 ohm impedance as well, and 1.5 meters in cable. And you're getting two colors as well, Athens black and also silver as well. And actually from what I've seen from the specs here, you do get maybe a beryllium coated driver here. So for around $150, that might be a unique selling point. And that is your headphone right away. And look at that, guys. And actually from the get-go, guys, it does have that wooden smell. So the wood smell emanates from the headphone itself. And you're getting that WGZ Blon as well, and nicely presented here as well. And actually, compared to other Blons, it's quite surprising that you're getting a wood back here, because your usual Blons are maybe metal in build. So it's quite surprising that you're getting different build qualities. So in the box, you're getting that warranty card, and you're getting a braided cable as well. And actually, this is not that big of a cable, but you're getting a 3.5mm jack insertion at the top, and two 2.5mm connector as well for your headphone. And actually, I like this connector because I do already have some connectors with this. So I can use other cables that I have. First, looking at the headphone itself, actually it's surprisingly light here. So I was expecting a bit maybe heavier here, but maybe because of that suspended design, you don't need that much materials here in your headphone. It does feel good in the hand. You're getting a lot of metal trims here. This is actually a metal trim here at the side, and on top as well, of course, you're getting that metal trims, and you're getting that maybe leatherette kind of band there at the top. And actually you're getting additional cushioning there at the top as well in your headband. So for me, it kind of looks good. It's not the best looking headphone that I have seen, but it kind of looks good. So I actually would prefer if it's a bit more rounded at the side, but this is not bad overall as well. So you're getting 2014 WGZ Blon there at the side as well. You do get a 90-degree swivel as well, and you're getting that navy velour pads there at the side as well. So it's kind of like a mix of leather and also velour, so dual tone here. And actually this might be good for longevity, because having this kind of texture might reduce the wear and tear for your maybe leatherette pads. So we are now wearing it on the ear, and that actually does fit nicely. So this is what the headphone is gonna look like. Actually, it looks good for me. So even if I do have some gripes here and there for the design, overall in the look, so this is definitely lighter compared to the Mies 99 Classics for me. So for me, it's a bit more comfortable to the ear as well. Actually, I do like the shape that they chose here. It fits quite nicely on the ear. It covers most of my ear, and it doesn't touch my ear that much as well. So it can be comfortable for me for a long listening session. So the fit for me on the ear and also comfort is really nice here. Isolation maybe not that great. This not a super clampy pair. Actually, for me, the clamp is maybe a bit too light for my liking, that it doesn't isolate that much. So when I press down with my hand, it isolates a bit more. So this won't be something that you want to use for maybe some monitoring. So it does swivel a bit to provide a bit better isolation, but that is not the best isolating pair that I have worn. In terms of the stability here, so actually pretty stable here. So yeah, for me, build quality overall, fit and finish, it's actually quite good here for a $150 pair. So we are now gonna listen to some tunes, and we're using the Cavalli Tube Hybrid with the Grace S DAC for our listen today. So we're now listening to the Blon BL60, and we are listening to some I Shot the Sheriff by Eric Clapton. So first, in terms of the overall sound, this is more of a bright V type of listen to the ear. So it's actually in the smoother side of presentation as well. So you're getting that warmth of a woodback design here. Actually, not that much. This is not the smoothest headphone that I have listened to. I do have some woodbacks that are smoother compared to this. Actually, with the likes of the Audio-Technica ESW 950s, those will be smoother in terms of the overall presentation. So this is a bit cleaner compared to the ESW 950s, but still this is in the smoother side of presentation. It's more of a fun type of listen to the ear as well, more of a musical type of listen. Actually, maybe in some parts, especially if you look at the graph here later, because it is a bright U type of shape, it has some monitor qualities as well to the overall sound, because you're getting that ample extension in the top end. You're getting that 5K here. So maybe for some guitar tracks in the mix, you're getting that 5K elevation. So some instruments will be more upfront in the mix compared to other instruments. And also this is more in the aggressive side of presentation. So this is not something that you want to use for some mixing work. So it's quite aggressive upfront type of presentation. So really lively in terms of the overall presentation. So actually, that kind of presentation might give you that monitor qualities. So actually, when you do maybe use this for some guitar monitoring, you can still get that articulation on top here because of that 5K extension. So yeah, it's kind of a mix of a fun slash monitoring pair for me. So going to the bass response, actually the bass here, looking at the graph, it's quite elevated in the mix, but not that much. So this is not the most elevated Blon bass that I've listened to. Actually, in terms of the overall bass response, this is the lightest bass for a Blon that I've listened to, and it's actually surprising. But actually, in terms of the overall signature, this maybe reminds me of the Blon Mini, because the Blon Mini also has that maybe 4K extension on top and doesn't have that 12K. But actually, in the Blon Mini, you're getting a lot more bass there. Here in the bass in the BL60s, in the B60s, it's more toned down in the mix. So the bass here is more in the tight side for me, but this is not the tightest bass that I've listened to. But actually, maybe for some people, you might find the bass here to be lacking, especially if you're a Blon fan. If you're used to Blons, this is maybe not the bass that you are looking for. So actually, this is quite surprising for me of a bass response, because usually for Blons, you're getting that maybe really boomy bass at the bottom. But here in this headphone, this is a bit more toned down. So actually, surprising bass here. This might be the tightest bass for a Blon that I've listened to so far. Maybe you can improve the bass response here, especially for those who already got the B60s. Maybe change the pads here. Yeah, because usually, for some pads, it does seal a bit better on the ear. So, if you are looking for more bass in these, you might change pads. But yeah, quite surprising that the stock pads, gives this kind of signature for me in the, type of listen to the ear. So going to the mids is recessed in the mix, and quite smooth in the overall presentation as well. And the presentation of the vocal is actually a bright vocal presentation. So again, maybe a monitor type of presentation for me on the ear. So actually pushes through the mix nicely. Again, maybe reminds me of the Blon Minis in this regard. However, I would say this is not the smoothest vocal that I've listened to. It's kind of like in the middle here. It's in the middle of clean and also smooth. So for the male vocals and also the female vocals as well, both of them have pretty recessed vocals for me in the mix. I would say though, I'm encountering a bit of hotness here in the overall listen. For some people, you might find this a bit too aggressive of a listen. So it's that revealing that it has some maybe hotness in the vocals, and not that big of a fan of that. But yeah, what I like about the vocals is the clarity of the vocals. So definitely it's quite revealing for me in the mix. It's really lively in the mix. So actually for a live band type of tracks, you might like the vocals here. But actually for me in the overall listen, I find the vocals here to be a bit too reset for my liking. And if it's a little bit smoother as well, it might be a bit better here. So yeah, maybe that's my expectation for a Blon kind of sound. So this is quite different from what I'm usually used to. So going to the top end. So the top end, as I mentioned, is really energetic to the ear. So definitely it's more upfront compared to other instruments here. So because of that, really elevated 5K, the cymbals sound really lively. The guitars sound really lively as well in the mix, and it's quite musical for me of a listen as well. Like for example, in Eric Clapton's Change the World, so the cymbals here really lively of a listen. Has that maybe live band feel for me on the ear, and the guitars as well. The acoustic guitars really shines in the mix as well for that picking technique. It really resolves that really nicely. And maybe for some string instruments as well, maybe for some quartets, you might like the overall listen here as well. So it's really lively to listen to. However, in the other side, for me, the top end is a bit too much for my liking. It has maybe a bit more aggressiveness than what I would like. Actually, sometimes it introduces some maybe sibilance in some tracks, so it might be a bit too aggressive of a listen. And yeah, because of that, bright vocal presentation as well, it does have some fatigue when listening to this for a long listening session. So pros and cons here. You're getting that really lively type of sound, but for me, this is a bit too much of a listen for me. And for me, in some cymbals as well, it is a bit too splashy for my liking. It can be thin for me of a listen on the ear. Like for example, in Let's Group, Earth, Wind and Fire, so the shaker in the right side for me is a bit too thin for my liking. And also in Change the World, Eric Clapton cymbals, lacking a bit of body for me on top. In terms of the detail retrieval, it does have a bit of micro detail here. Maybe a bit more so compared to your usual dynamic drivers, but this is still not a detail monster. In terms of the separation, I would say medium here. So, it's not overly clean, also not overly smooth. So you're getting a bit more separation challenging compared to other dynamics that I've listened to, but still this won't beat out your tighter drivers in headphones. So that's our listen with the B60s. So let's try to close this thing. So first, I do like the overall build quality here. I think for $160, the build quality here is really good. You're getting the Woodback, almost all is metal in build, and you're getting pretty comfortable wear as well on the ear. So I would say one of the lightest headphones that I've worn, and pretty comfortable as well for a long listening session. However, I'm going to the sound quality. It didn't really impress me that much. So the 5K elevation for me is a bit too much for my liking. Also the bass as well, maybe a bit too light for my liking here. Also because of that bright Herbie type of signature to the ear, so the vocal presentation is a bit recessed for me in the mix as well. So actually this is quite surprising of a tuning for me. I didn't expect this kind of tuning from a Blon. I do think though this can be fixed in some way, maybe changing up the pads. Having a pads roll can fix this, improve the sound a bit, because yeah, for me the seal with the default pads is not that good. Maybe thicker pads or better seating pads can work a bit better here. But yeah, for me personally in the stock, I didn't really particularly like it that much, and because of that signature as well. So yeah, this won't go to my top 5, and I would wait for the next version of the B60s for me in that regard. Alright, so that's my take with the B60s. First Blon headphone in the channel, so actually always interesting to check out new product categories from manufacturers, because they may offer you a different sound to the ear, different tuning, their house sound. They will take it to another maybe product category. So I'm looking forward to the next versions of Blon headphones. Maybe give me a Blon 03 type of signature to the ear, or maybe even a Prometheus. Can be really cool for me if I listen as well. But yeah, for this iteration, not so much for me. Yeah, of course, if you learned something, leave a like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Actually, for those asking for the earphone awards in the next videos, I'm still working on them, and actually, unfortunately, I'm working on other stuff other than YouTube, so I was a bit delayed. But yeah, I do take time in the IEMs that I really like, so I'm still listening to them. So that's one clue why some other IEMs are taking more time, because for IEMs that I really like, I want to take more time to be able to review them and compare them to other headphones or IEMs as well. So I'm taking a bit more time with others, but they will come, and I will try my best to deliver as fast as I can. Yeah, holidays is coming, so my schedule is getting a bit more hectic. So apologies for that, for the delay in my videos, but they will come. I will try my best. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next zpolt review. Bye-bye.